Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tear down one of the biggest myths in self-improvement, and that's the whole idea that you actually need to feel motivated to get things done. Okay, so let's dive right into this because it's a really provocative idea. We've all been sold this dream, right? That to hit our goals, we just need to wait for that magical spark of motivation to show up. But what if that's completely backward? What if waiting for that feeling is the exact thing that's holding you back? And what if the most successful people on the planet are running on a totally different operating system?
And this really gets to the heart of it. Motivation, when you break it down, is just an emotion. It's fleeting, it's unreliable, it pretty much only shows up when all the stars align. Discipline, though, that's something else. That is a system. It's the engine that you build that runs day in, day out, whether you feel like it or not.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, especially when you look at the brain science. See, motivation is all driven by your limbic system. It's that rush of dopamine, that short-term high you get when you think about a reward. Discipline, on the other hand, is managed by your prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of your brain, the part responsible for long-term planning and control. One is just chasing a feeling, the other is building an identity.
So, okay, if motivation isn't the answer, then why do our best-laid plans just completely crumble by 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, the answer isn't that you lack willpower. It's that there's a hidden flaw, a bug, in your brain's operating system.
And that bug has a name. It's called decision fatigue. This thing is the silent killer of good intentions. It is the real reason you skip the gym, order takeout instead of cooking, and just scroll on your phone for hours after a long day.
Think about it like this. Your brain's self-control is like a smartphone battery. Every single choice you make all day long drains a little bit of power. Now, the autopilot stuff, like brushing your teeth, that barely uses any energy. But then you get to the moderate decisions, what to eat, which email to answer first, those start to add up. And the high-stakes decisions, whoa, those can pretty much wipe out your battery for the entire day.
And here is the crucial part. When your mental battery is low, your brain doesn't default to the best path. It defaults to the easiest one, every single time. So willpower isn't some moral virtue that you either have or you don't. No, it's a finite biological resource and it gets exhausted. This brings us to a huge paradox. Our culture absolutely worships intense, explosive effort. You know, the all-nighter, the hardcore boot camp, the crash diet. But the science shows that's actually a perfect recipe for failure.
This quote just nails the whole idea. Those huge bursts of motivation-fueled effort, they almost always lead to burnout or injury or just plain quitting. It's the slow, steady, persistent pressure that actually creates real, lasting change.
And you know what? The math here it's just undeniable. If you get just 1% better every day, at the end of the year, you're not 365% better, you're nearly 38 times better. That is the unbelievable power of small, daily actions compounding over time.
You know, the classic story of the tortoise and the hare? It's really about this exact principle. People who chase intensity, they're the hare. They sprint hard, they burn out, and then they crash. But the tortoise, powered by consistency, just builds resilience and skill one step at a time. It doesn't just finish the race, it's ready for the next one.
So what's the solution? How do we take all this and build it into a framework that actually works? Simple. We stop waiting around for a spark of motivation to hit us, and we start building a reliable, self-sustaining machine. The science of how we form habits shows our brains run on this automated three-part loop. There's a cue, which is the trigger, then the routine, which is the behavior itself, and finally a reward, which reinforces that loop. So the goal is not to fight your brain's programming. The goal is to hijack it, to deliberately rewire this loop to serve your goals.
So how do you actually do it? Well, you build a shield to protect yourself from decision fatigue. You can use environmental design to make good choices the default. You can use habit stacking, where you attach a new habit to an existing one. You can use the 2-minute rule to build momentum. Or you can create if-then plans to decide your actions ahead of time, which completely eliminates the need for in-the-moment willpower.
But, and this is important, you have to be patient. Forget that myth that it takes 21 days to form a habit. Real research from University College London shows it takes, on average, 66 days for a new behavior to become truly automatic. So remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
So really, the ultimate takeaway here is a fundamental shift in perspective. Motivation, it's just a feeling. It's temporary, it's unreliable, and you have almost no control over when it decides to show up.
But discipline that's built through systems and consistent action, that becomes a part of who you are. The goal is to stop thinking, I need to do a workout, and start thinking, I am the kind of person who works out. Every time you show up, especially when you don't feel like it, you are casting a vote for that new identity.
So I'll leave you with this question. Instead of searching for a feeling, what is the single smallest decision you can eliminate or automate tomorrow? What tiny system can you build to cast the first vote for the person you want to become?